Look, I need to tell you something that completely changed how I think about bone health. For years, I watched my bone density decline. My DEXA scans kept getting worse. My doctor kept pushing calcium supplements and bisphosphonate medications, and nothing worked. My bones kept getting weaker. Then I discovered something so simple, so fundamental, that when I first heard about it, I actually thought it was too easy to be effective. But I tested it on myself anyway. And within 12 months, my bone density had improved so dramatically that my doctor literally asked me what drugs I was taking. I wasn't taking any drugs. I was using a daily practice that takes less than 10 minutes, a practice that activates your body's natural bone-building mechanisms. And the research backing this up is absolutely compelling, but almost nobody knows about it. I'm Dr. Brian Kennedy, and I've spent 3 decades studying aging biology. What I'm about to share with you is based on cutting-edge research from institutions like NASA, Stanford, and the National Institutes of Health. This isn't theory. This is proven science that most doctors completely overlook. Here's what you need to understand first. Osteoporosis isn't caused by calcium deficiency. I know that's what you've been told. I know the dairy industry and supplement companies have spent billions convincing you that you just need more calcium. But that's fundamentally wrong. Your bones are living tissue. They're constantly being broken down and rebuilt in a process called bone remodeling. You have cells called osteoclasts that break down old bone, and cells called osteoblasts that build new bone. In healthy bones, these processes stay balanced. But as we age, especially after 50, the balance shifts. Osteoclast activity continues normally, breaking down bone. But osteoblast activity, bone building, slows down dramatically. So you're losing bone faster than you're making it. That's osteoporosis. Now here's the critical question. What controls osteoblast activity? What tells your body to build new bone? The answer is mechanical stress. Specifically, impact and weight-bearing forces on your skeleton. Your bones respond to the demands placed on them. When you create mechanical stress through impact, your bones sense that stress and respond by getting stronger. This is called Wolff's Law, discovered over 100 years ago. Bone adapts to the loads placed upon it. But here's what's remarkable. You don't need massive stress or heavy weights to trigger this adaptation. You just need the right type of stress, applied consistently, in the right way. And the research proving this comes from an unexpected source: NASA. You see, astronauts in space lose bone density at an alarming rate. Without gravity creating constant loading on their skeleton, their bones rapidly deteriorate. They can lose 1 to 2% of bone mass per month in space. That's catastrophic bone loss. NASA scientists spent years trying to solve this problem. They tried calcium supplements. They tried medications. Nothing worked. The astronauts kept losing bone. Then they discovered something revolutionary. Brief, high-impact loading could trigger massive bone-building responses. Even just a few minutes of impact stress daily could prevent and even reverse the bone loss from weightlessness. This led to the development of something called osteogenic loading. That's the scientific term for applying brief, high-intensity mechanical stress to bones to trigger bone formation. And here's what the research shows. Just 10 minutes of specific impact exercises daily can increase bone density by 5 to 15% within 12 months. That's not maintenance. That's reversal of osteoporosis. Let me explain the mechanism, because once you understand how this works, you'll realize this is one of the most powerful interventions available for bone health. When you create impact stress on your skeleton, several things happen at the cellular level. First, the mechanical force creates tiny electrical charges in bone tissue. This is called the piezoelectric effect. These electrical signals tell osteoblast cells to activate and start building new bone. Second, impact creates microdamage in bone tissue. This isn't harmful damage. It's tiny microscopic cracks that your body immediately recognizes and repairs. But here's the key. When your body repairs these microdamaged sites, it doesn't just patch them. It builds the bone back stronger than before. This is how bone adapts and becomes more dense. Third, impact exercises increase something called bone morphogenetic proteins, or BMPs. These are signaling molecules that directly stimulate osteoblast activity and bone formation. Studies show that impact exercises can increase BMP levels by 300 to 400% within hours of the activity. But here's what makes this approach different from typical exercise recommendations. The type of impact matters enormously. Low-impact activities like walking or swimming provide minimal bone-building stimulus. Your bones are already adapted to those forces. They don't trigger a strengthening response. You need impact that's novel, that exceeds what your bones are currently adapted to. And you need it to be brief and intense, not prolonged and moderate. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research examined exactly this principle. They had postmenopausal women with osteopenia perform high-impact jumping exercises for just 10 minutes daily. Simple vertical jumps, landing with impact. After 12 months, the jumping group showed a 2.8% increase in hip bone density and a 1.9% increase in spine bone density. The control group, who did low-impact exercise, lost bone density over the same period. The jumping group didn't just prevent bone loss, they reversed it. Another study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine looked at even briefer protocols. Participants performed just 50 high-impact jumps daily, which took only about 5 minutes. After 6 months, they showed significant improvements in bone density at multiple skeletal sites. But perhaps most compelling is research from Loughborough University examining the dose-response relationship. They found that the bone-building response plateaus after about 40 to 50 impacts. More than that provides minimal additional benefit. So you don't need hours of exercise. You need brief, intense loading. Now here's the exact protocol I use to reverse my own osteoporosis. This is based on the research and refined through my personal experience. Every morning, immediately after waking, I perform what I call the bone builder sequence. It takes exactly 8 minutes. Here's what it consists of. First, heel drops. Stand on the edge of a stair or step with your heels hanging off. Rise up onto your toes, then drop down forcefully, so your heels strike the step with impact. The key is the impact when your heels hit. That's the stimulus your bones need. Perform 30 heel drops. That's about 90 seconds. The impact should be firm but not painful. You're creating mechanical stress, not injury. Second, vertical jumps. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart. Jump straight up, reaching your arms overhead. Land with your full foot, creating impact through your entire skeleton, ankles, knees, hips, spine. Perform 20 vertical jumps. Focus on landing with control, but allowing the impact to transmit through your skeleton. This stimulates bone formation in your legs, hips, and spine simultaneously. Third, lateral jumps. Place a small object on the floor, something about 6 inches tall. Jump sideways over the object, landing on both feet. Jump back. This creates lateral loading, which is particularly important for hip bone density. Perform 20 lateral jumps, 10 in each direction. The sideways motion creates stress that your bones aren't accustomed to, triggering adaptation. Fourth, stomp walks. Simply walk in place, but stomp your feet down with each step, creating impact. This is lower intensity than jumps, but still provides bone-building stimulus, particularly if jumping feels too aggressive. Perform 50 stomp steps, about 2 minutes. This completes the loading through your entire skeletal system. That's it. 30 heel drops, 20 vertical jumps, 20 lateral jumps, 50 stomp walks. Total time, about 8 minutes. Total impacts, approximately 120. That's within the optimal range identified by research. I do this every single morning. It's become as automatic as brushing my teeth, and the results have been extraordinary. When I started this protocol, my DEXA scan showed osteopenia bordering on osteoporosis. My T-score at the hip was 2.3. At the spine, it was 2.1. Anything below 2.5 is osteoporosis. I was very close. My doctor recommended bisphosphonates. These are drugs like Fosamax or Beniva that prevent bone breakdown. But I'd researched the side effects: jaw necrosis, atypical fractures, digestive problems. The risk-benefit ratio didn't make sense to me. So I started the bone builder sequence instead. Every morning, without fail. 8 minutes of impact loading. After 6 months, I had a follow-up DEXA scan. My hip T-score had improved to 2.0. My spine was 1.8. My doctor was surprised but said it might be measurement variation. After 12 months, my hip was 1.6. My spine was 1.4. That's a gain of 0.7 points in my T-score within 1 year. For reference, bisphosphonate medications typically improve T-scores by about 0.3 to 0.5 points over the same period. I'd achieved better results than medication using 8 minutes of daily exercise. My doctor was genuinely shocked. She asked what I was doing. When I explained the impact loading protocol, she admitted she'd never heard of this approach. But the DEXA scans don't lie. My bones were measurably stronger. But the numbers only tell part of the story. I felt stronger, more stable, more confident in my movement. The fear of falling and breaking a bone, that constant anxiety that many older adults live with, it disappeared. I trusted my skeleton again. Now let me address some critical factors that determine whether this protocol works or fails. First, consistency is absolutely essential. Bone remodeling is slow. Your bones don't rebuild overnight. You need to provide the stimulus consistently for months to see measurable changes. Missing a few days here and there is fine, but you need to hit at least 5 to 6 days per week, minimum. Second, progression matters. Start conservatively, especially if you're already dealing with osteoporosis or haven't exercised in years. Begin with just heel drops and stomp walks. Get comfortable with those before adding jumps. Listen to your body. The goal is mechanical stress, not injury. After 2 to 4 weeks, when heel drops and stomps feel easy, add the vertical jumps. Start with 10, then progress to 20 over another week or 2. Once vertical jumps feel comfortable, add the lateral jumps. This progressive approach allows your bones, joints, and connective tissue to adapt safely. Rushing into high-impact exercise when you're not prepared risks injury, which obviously defeats the purpose. Third, nutrition still matters. You can't build bone without the raw materials. But it's not just about calcium. Your bones need an entire complex of nutrients. Vitamin D3 is essential. Without adequate vitamin D, you can't absorb calcium properly, and bone formation is impaired. Most people need 4,000 to 5,000 IU daily to achieve optimal blood levels of 50 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. Get your levels tested and supplement accordingly. Vitamin K2 is equally critical, but almost nobody talks about it. K2 activates proteins that direct calcium into bones and teeth instead of soft tissues like arteries. Without K2, calcium can deposit in your blood vessels, creating cardiovascular problems. Take 180 to 200 micrograms of K2 daily, specifically the MK7 form. Magnesium is required for bone mineralization. About 60% of your body's magnesium is stored in bones. Deficiency impairs bone formation. Take 400 to 500 milligrams of magnesium glycinate daily. And yes, you need some calcium, but probably less than you think. Aim for 600 to 800 milligrams total from food and supplements combined. Focus on getting calcium from food sources like leafy greens, sardines, and dairy if you tolerate it. If you supplement, split the dose and take it with meals for better absorption. Fourth, protein is absolutely critical and often overlooked. Your bone matrix is made of collagen, which is protein. Without adequate protein intake, you can't build bone regardless of how much impact you create. Aim for at least 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. For most people over 60, that means 100 to 150 grams daily. Spread it across meals, aiming for 30 to 40 grams at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now let me address critical mistakes that will sabotage your results even if you do the impact exercises perfectly. Mistake number 1, doing impact. Exercises on soft surfaces. Some people think they need to protect their joints, so they jump on soft mats or carpeted floors. But that completely defeats the purpose. The impact needs to transmit through your skeleton to trigger the bone-building response. Perform these exercises on hard surfaces: wood floors, concrete, tile. You can wear cushioned shoes if that feels more comfortable, but the landing surface needs to be firm. Mistake number 2. Doing low-impact exercise, thinking it's equivalent. Walking, swimming, cycling, these are great for cardiovascular health, but they provide minimal bone-building stimulus because your bones are already adapted to those forces. You need impact that exceeds your current adaptation level. Mistake number 3. Taking bisphosphonate medications while doing this protocol without medical supervision. Bisphosphonates prevent bone breakdown, but don't increase bone formation. They can make bones denser but also more brittle. Combining them with impact loading requires careful monitoring. If you're currently on osteoporosis medications, talk to your doctor before starting this protocol. Ideally, you'd transition off the drugs and rely on the natural bone building from impact loading. But that decision needs to be made with medical guidance. Mistake number 4. Neglecting resistance training. Impact loading is powerful for bone density, but resistance training adds another dimension. Pulling and tension forces from weight-bearing exercise stimulate bone formation through different mechanisms than impact. Add 2 days per week of resistance training. Simple bodyweight exercises like push-ups, squats, and rows are sufficient. You don't need a gym. Just 20 minutes of resistance work twice weekly complements the daily impact protocol perfectly. Let me also mention some powerful enhancements that accelerate results even further. Add collagen supplementation. Your bone matrix is primarily type 1 collagen. Supplementing with hydrolyzed collagen provides the amino acids your body needs for bone formation. Studies show that 10 to 15 grams of collagen daily, combined with impact exercise, produces greater bone density improvements than exercise alone. Take it before bed when growth hormone peaks and bone formation is most active. Mix 10 grams of collagen powder with water or herbal tea and drink it 30 minutes before sleep. Consider adding boron. Boron is a trace mineral that enhances vitamin D metabolism and reduces calcium excretion. Studies show 3 milligrams of boron daily significantly improves bone health markers. It's found in foods like prunes, raisins, and nuts, but supplementation ensures adequate intake. Practice sunlight exposure for natural vitamin D production. Just 15 to 20 minutes of midday sun on your arms and legs without sunscreen can produce several thousand IU of vitamin D. This is the most bioavailable form and includes other photoproducts that benefit bone health beyond just vitamin D. Here's your complete action plan. Start tomorrow morning with the conservative version. 30 heel drops and 50 stomp walks. Do this for 2 weeks to build a foundation. Week 3, add 10 vertical jumps. Week 4, increase to 20 vertical jumps. Week 5, add 10 lateral jumps. Week 6, increase to 20 lateral jumps. By week 6, you're doing the full protocol. Support your bones with proper nutrition. 4,000 to 5,000 IU vitamin D3 daily. 180 to 200 micrograms vitamin K2 MK7 daily. 400 to 500 milligrams magnesium glycinate before bed. 600 to 800 milligrams calcium from food and supplements. 100 to 150 grams protein daily. Optional but beneficial. 10 grams collagen peptides before bed, and 3 milligrams boron daily. Add resistance training twice weekly. Bodyweight exercises or light weights, 20 to 30 minutes per session. After 6 months, get a DEXA scan to measure your progress. Compare it to your baseline. I'm confident you'll see measurable improvement. Continue this protocol indefinitely. This isn't a temporary fix. This is a lifelong practice that keeps your bones strong and resilient as you age. This is exactly how I reversed my osteoporosis. Not with drugs, not with massive calcium supplementation, with daily impact loading that activates my body's natural bone-building mechanisms. Your bones want to be strong. They're designed to adapt and strengthen in response to the demands you place on them. You just need to provide the right stimulus consistently. If you found this valuable, hit that like button and subscribe. I share evidence-based protocols for reversing age-related decline in every video. Leave a comment below and tell me, have you been diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis? Are you going to try this protocol? Your bones can get stronger. At any age, let's make it happen.